Hello everybody. Welcome back. Today we are going to ink a comic panel, and this is a comic panel. And doing what we normally do, slapping some inks down on there. The reason why I wanted to show this panel here, just for the simplicity of it. You've got some extreme foreground element, middle ground, and kind of like a background, which is the character we're inking right now. And this is done for the standard comic book that I'm working on with John Lees. You can check out more information in the link below in the description. But yeah, so right now what I'm doing is we've got a character in the back, the Skunk, that's his name. And since he's in the back, what I wanted to try and do was put most of the shadow work in the background and leave the foreground characters a little bit clear. I do end up throwing some more, obviously, heavy blacks in there. But the majority of the blacks I wanted on this character right here. So what I like to do in these kind of situations is I'll hack out shapes and I'll put an X inside it. And the X inside, for those that don't know, just to indicate to the inker, excuse me, to indicate to the inker that you should fill that with black. So I just do it as a mental note for myself. It makes it easier when I just grab the paint bucket tool and fill her in. But sometimes I will add the rendering as well. I wouldn't recommend working this way until you're comfortable understanding light and shadow a little bit. It depends on your level and skill as an artist. In saying that, I'm not saying that I'm perfect in this stuff. I've just done a lot of this sort of stuff for a while now, so I have an idea in my mind as I'm building this up, as I'm bringing in the rendering, as I'm adding the shadow shapes and adding the X's in there. I have an idea already what the final image is going to look like. So there's a little bit of confidence that comes with that, and that's all done by, being the best that you can be and just putting in the work. And yeah, so here, I didn't want to get too rendery with it. Just keep it kind of simple. Just show the information that needs to be there to the reader, which is the S on the guy's chest. Just so the character needs to be there to add placement into the scene based on the perspective that we had for earlier in the page that you guys can kind of see when I'm zooming in and out. Now here we have the little girl's mom. She's watching as her daughter is hugging the standard, the superhero. And I wanted to keep the shading pretty limited here, especially on the faces. Especially, that's doubled especially, on female faces. The cleaner they look, they tend to look a little bit better. That's not to say don't ever throw shadows on faces, especially for women. I highly recommend actually doing that. You just have to be very careful, whereas with men, you can get away with a lot more. And for her hair and other things that are like this, like fabrics or folds, I like to grab the lasso tool and kind of hack out shapes. I don't know if you can really see them on your monitor while you're watching the kind of triangular shapes that I'm making there. Trying to think of it as if you would normally ink with like a brush or something, where I'm still getting those flows, but I'm adding a lot more jaggy lines, kind of like is it stalagmites, I believe they're called, in like caves. The little like spiky things hanging down from a cave. Trying to think of it like that. And here just breaking up some more shapes. Right now, one of the beautiful things about working digital is just changing your line or your inking tool to white and just drawing over the black. You can totally do that with like real life inking tools. Absolutely. And here we go. So now the background's pretty dark, and I want to keep the foreground elements pretty light. And the little girl here, I'm just trying to mimic the shading that I have from her mother behind her, where it's just the nose at an angle. The lips are looking a little bit too, I guess, fakeish here, so I just broke them up a little bit, add a little bit of like the lights hitting it there. I'm not sure if I like the way that looks. It kind of duck-ish in a way. It just looks a little weird. I'll probably go back and add that line that I just erased on her mouth. And here again, just working on a cast shadow for the little flaps on her hair there, cast shadow onto her face. And I think I will be grabbing the triangle or the lasso brush here. I shouldn't note as well that it's the freeform lasso. That's how you can get like the fun shapes here. If you're using just I think it's a regular lasso where it's you click and it's a straight line to another point and you click. It's very like if you're making boxes or straight lines. That's not what you want to be using for something like this. Yep, so trying to keep it open again. Keep it clear. And the sad part is, there's, I believe, one dialogue balloon on this page, and it's probably going to cover up the guy in the back. That's okay. It does pay for you to know when that stuff is happening on your pages, because it'll save you time, so you're not just doing work for no reason. But I'm not quite sure where the speech balloon is going to go. I'm assuming it'll go above the mother's face, so it should be okay. But little things to be aware, especially when you're working in like that. And again, just Gilbert's hair there. It's the same stuff. Just use the lasso tool. It gives you a really cool effect. And yeah. So I think that panel's done. And we're just going to clear out some of the stuff. Oh, okay, here's one last thing. I'm just adding a cast shadow from her face onto her sleeve. Now, one little trick I've learned is you can make a lasso selection and then just draw inside of it. That'll give it a cool look. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. Keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you in the next video.